Thomas Esson asks a question that doesn't have to do with making necessarily. Is there an esoteric subject that you wish the news reported on, where you'd envision? Well, so is there an esoteric subject that you wish the news reported on? And he's saying, you know, would you see a value in the sufficient public interest to justify the journalism? And for Thomas, the subject he wishes was reported more is authenticity in the original prop market. There's lots of promotional press. There is virtually zero professional investigation. Yes, there are a lot of credulous news stories about hero props. It's true. But journalism is in a terrible state where your idea that a journalist has a job in which they get paid to go investigate stuff, surpassingly fewer and fewer journalists have jobs in which they are able to ably and correctly investigate stuff. So there's my decrying of the deterioration of the Fourth Estate, otherwise known as the press. But yes, there are three things that I think of as esoteric subjects that the news could cover better. Way back when, 25 years ago, George Bush and Al Gore had a very close election, and there was a lot of litigation around it. And post-election day, we survived for like 2.5 months without a president while legal battles were going back and forth. And one thing that I kept on pointing out was that they were counting hanging chads in the ballots in Florida and talking about like Bush is 35 votes ahead and Gore is 28 votes ahead and that kind of stuff, this sort of horse race stuff. And here's the thing that I wish our science communication in news could get better at, because when you have 1 million voters, I'm just choosing this as an arbitrary number, and you have a difference in the count of 35, that's not a number. And by me saying it's not a number, what I mean is it is not an integer that is useful to anyone in a scientific frame. And by that I mean you could take those 1 million votes, half of, you know, some for one candidate and some for the other, and count them. And as many times as you counted them, you'd come up with a different number every single time you counted them, no matter how carefully. This has been studied. This is proven. And so the number difference, 35 votes, 28 votes, these are statistically zero. My example for this is within shark research. Shark researchers don't really study shark attacks to learn global lessons from them because there are too few shark attacks. To a statistician, the number of shark attacks, which is less than maybe 5 per year across the billions of people getting into the water, it is a statistically non-number. It's a zero. That's one of the esoteric things I wish the press would cover. The other one, again, this is me and my issues with late-stage capitalism, is whenever you see a news story about a pilot shortage or a teacher shortage, and you can add in the occupation. When you're hearing stories about a blank shortage and like, we got to get more teachers, there's plenty of teachers. There are plenty of pilots. They are both being paid abysmally for the expertise and risk and difficulty that they are taking on with each of those jobs. So there is no shortage. The shortage is artificial because the people that will hire for those jobs don't or won't or can't actually allocate enough money for those employees to be paid fairly. Dude, go look up what, in general, pilots are paid commercially across the airline industry, and it will shock you. Yeah, those are stories that I think could get a little bit more attention. ThePstyron says, I'd love to know, seeing examples like Henry Cavill championing Warhammer or Joe Manganiello elevating D&D through their fame, what is a passion property you feel deserves more attention? What is something niche and underappreciated you would love to spotlight with your influence? Oh my God. So when I first breezed past this question, I was thinking of stuff that I love that I didn't think anyone else was paying attention to, which is sort of what you're asking, but you're specifically asking about esoteric properties I feel like it could deserve more attention. I mean, I'm doing it right now with cosplay. I am raising the volume on cosplay all over the place, wherever I can, for as long as I've known cosplay existed. And I'm delighted to be one of the spokesmodels for cosplay. Yeah, I mean, I view that I am absolutely, I'm aware that cosplayers the world over have family members that they see at weddings and reunions who are like, what is it that you do? And if I can help, I'm delighted to. Yeah, so, and then the very next question from the great Brandino is, do you have any LEGO Grogus in your collection? The answer is I do. I have a couple. I built a Razor Crest, and then just the other day, a young maker came by the cave to show me something that they had built, and they brought me this LEGO Grogu. Is that, yeah, look at how cute he is. Absolutely gorgeous. It's so small, you could just eat it. Absolutely delightful Lego. Yeah, Grogu is happening fast and furious here. I'm so Grogu obsessed. And Lego Jerry says, how do you find garage sales? Just driving around? Is there an app? Facebook Marketplace? Craigslist? Okay, so Facebook Marketplace is fabulous. So are places like The Real Real and First Dibs, although, different price ranges for those kinds of things. I find garage sales on Craigslist, and San Francisco has a real garage sale vibe to it. Like, I don't know what a garage sale in New York City would look like. I can't even imagine one. But in San Francisco, it's a perfect city for garage sales. So actually almost every weekend I go and look on Craigslist to see what garage sales might happen. I've gotten more assiduous about this recently because about 2 months ago, there was some company going out of business and clearing a shop out, and I found out a week late, and I was very, very sad. It's not the big tools that I want with stuff like that. It's always the weird esoteric kinds of shelving that I'm really interested in. And so I am assiduous about looking for garage sales every weekend. But if you want the garage sale, endorphin rush, I'm going to tell you Antiques Mall. Antique stores are everywhere, and they are really hit and miss. Really hit and miss. It could just be a lot of dusty teacups from the 70s, or it could be some really weird, great crap. Antiques malls are antique stores where they have many sellers who are selling on, not commission, consignment. And that's why I like them. Many different brokers of stuff. And I get to see a lot. We used to actually have this wonderful place in San Francisco called Stuff. And I think it's still here. It's moved its location, but there was a Stuff on Valencia Street. And it was great. 2 stories of stuff. And I almost never bought things there. I bought a few things there, but I almost never did. And that's my favorite kind of antique store to go to, is there's fun stuff to look at and I leave without having bought something. I think of that as an ideal outing. But Antiques Mall, man, Antiques Malls are great. You'll come across some people who are overvaluing their stuff. You'll come across just as many people undervaluing their stuff. And I know we're in the age of eBay and stuff, but one of the things I love antique malls for specifically is tools. Because it doesn't seem like anyone is really collecting in that space. And so old wooden, apple crates and old brace drills and hand saws and stuff like that. There's this wonderful movement on YouTube over the past half decade of repair videos of people buying stuff and repairing it. And a lot of it is noise to signal, where I think they're just sitting steel and iron things in rusting chemicals for weeks and then undoing what they have done to them. That being said, there is a great delight in buying some old hand tool with multiple parts from an antique store and coming home and cleaning all the pieces and putting it back together and getting it to work. Yeah, Antiques Malls, man, they are absolutely my jam. Thank you for watching. I wanted to talk to you about tested membership. The tested members are a key community that we find really, really remarkable. That's very separate from tested and from YouTube. The tested members, they buy each other memberships during our live streams. So if you're wondering whether to become a member, watch one of our live streams and someone may just give you one. It is hard to overestimate how much the tested members actually make possible on this channel. They give us a lot of wiggle room. They give us a huge amount of feedback.
That's a member right now.
Thank you so much for enjoying your membership. Link in the description for everything you need to know. And for all the members out there, thank you, thank you, thank you.